At the United Nations General Assembly in New York this week, the stage turned into a battleground of ideas as world leaders shared their sharply different visions for handling today's global crises. The debate was not just about conflict in Ukraine or the Middle East, but about the very foundations of international order and whether cooperation or raw power should guide the future. French President Emmanuel Macron delivered one of the most pointed speeches of the session. He warned that global politics must not slide into a struggle where the strong dominate the weak. According to The Guardian, Macron argued that the notion of survival of the fittest should never define diplomacy, stressing that justice and cooperation must remain at the center of world affairs. Macron's defense of multilateralism came in direct contrast to U.S. President Donald Trump, who has been openly critical of the United Nations. Trump, speaking in his own remarks, accused the institution of failing American interests and rejected European moves to recognize Palestine as a state. As Reuters noted, Macron hit back indirectly, saying that those who seek to undermine the UN are often the same powers trying to bend global rules to their advantage. One of the most striking points in Macron's address was his support for Palestinian statehood. Standing before world leaders, he made clear that recognizing Palestine does not mean excusing violence or terror, but rather ensuring fairness in applying international law. He emphasized that France's recognition would go hand in hand with its support for Ukraine, proving that principles of sovereignty and peace must apply to all conflicts equally. France's position is not isolated. Several European countries, including Ireland, Spain, Norway, and Sweden, have already recognized Palestine in recent years. As Al Jazeera reported, more than 140 of the UN's 193 member states now officially acknowledge Palestine, even as major powers like the United States, the United Kingdom, and Germany continue to resist such recognition. Trump, however, dismissed this approach entirely. He warned that granting Palestine statehood now would reward atrocities, a reference to the October 2023 attacks carried out by Hamas. Many Western governments, including Washington, still classify Hamas as a terrorist group. The New York Times highlighted how Trump's stance revealed the sharp divide between Washington and several of its closest European allies. Macron responded by underlining that acknowledging Palestine is not about supporting militancy, but about moving closer to a two-state solution. He said ignoring Palestinian rights while backing Ukraine's fight against Russian occupation would expose the West to accusations of hypocrisy. According to BBC News, Macron increasingly presents his diplomacy as an effort to end double standards in international relations. On Ukraine, Macron softened his tone toward Trump. For the first time, the U.S. president signaled that Kiev might be able to reclaim not only lost territories, but also gain stronger ground in its war with Russia. Macron welcomed this shift, telling leaders that Washington's stronger backing of Ukraine was encouraging for Europe's security. This mix of firmness on Palestine and compromise on Ukraine reflects Macron's larger foreign policy strategy, pushing Europe to take a stronger, more independent role in shaping peace, while still working with the United States when their interests align. Politico observed that Macron is increasingly presenting France as a mediator that can bridge differences within the Western Bloc, while keeping fairness as a guiding principle. The disagreement between Macron and Trump at the UN shows how fractured the Western alliance has become. While the United States continues its traditional backing of Israel, many European countries are becoming more outspoken about Palestinian rights, especially after recent conflicts in Gaza that left thousands of civilians dead. The division raises questions about whether the West can maintain a united front on broader global issues. Macron's broader warning was about the erosion of international law and institutions. He cautioned that if nations continue to prioritize raw power, nationalism, and military strength over cooperation, the world will face deeper instability. The Washington Post quoted him as saying that defending the UN system is vital to prevent further chaos in regions like the Middle East and Eastern Europe.